McCarthy might have a math problem in blocking Omar from panel. Santos loans deepen questions around campaign finances. Paul Pelosi attack video to be released. Here's how the assault on Nancy Pelosi's husband unfolded. King Charles III evicts disgraced Prince Andrew from Buckingham Palace as Duke of York hints at mystery development that could restore his reputation. Trump orders House a weaponization panel to probe his grievances in video rant.
This is breaking news.
I'm Erin Burnett in Washington.
McCarthy might have a math problem in blocking Omar from panel. Speaker Kevin McCarthy's, Republican California, vowed to block Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat Minnesota, from sitting on the House Foreign Affairs Committee has hit an early snag. He may not have the votes to do it. Omar, one of 3 Muslims in Congress, has been a controversial figure on Capitol Hill for her sharp criticisms of the Israeli government and its human rights record. Republicans have said she's crossed a line into anti-Semitism, and McCarthy's case for booting her from Foreign Affairs rests on that accusation. But McCarthy has a math problem to solve, one that could prove an early test of his ability to keep his narrow majority united and fulfill a long-running vow. Democrats are rallying behind Omar, which could force GOP leaders to rely entirely on their own members if they're to succeed. There's already 2 Republicans that have indicated that they won't vote to put her off, and I think others will come aboard also, said Representative Gregory Meeks, New York, the senior Democrat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, who is lobbying Republicans on Omar's behalf. So I don't think it's going to be a simple vote. I think that she has a good chance of staying. Representative Victoria Spartz, Republican Indiana, said this week she'll oppose the measure, calling McCarthy's move unprecedented, while citing her opposition to Democrats' successful removal of GOP representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, GA, and Paul Gosar, Arizona, from committees in 2021. 2 wrongs do not make a right, she said in a statement. As I spoke against it on the House floor 2 years ago, I will not support this charade again. Representative Nancy Mace, Republican South Carolina, has been similarly cool to the concept, also pointing to her criticism of the Greene and Gosar evictions under Democratic rule. I'm not going to be a hypocrite just because Republicans are in the majority now, she told reporters Wednesday morning. It's not been a precedent in Congress to kick people off of their committees because of things that they say, even if you vehemently disagree with those things. Still, Mace said she's withholding final judgment until the final resolution is released. Santos loans deepen questions around campaign finances. A set of updated campaign finance reports are deepening the mystery surrounding the source of high-dollar loans that Representative George Santos, Republican New York, made to his campaign last year. Santos's campaign previously reported that a pair of 6-figure loans from the candidate, one for $500,000 that was made last March and another for $125,000 in October, came from his personal funds. But in an amended filing with the Federal Election Commission, FEC, on Tuesday, Santos's campaign unchecked a box indicating that the $500,000 loan came from personal funds. Similarly, a separate updated report left the same box unchecked for the $125,000 loan. The changes were first reported by the Daily Beast. Further complicating the matter is the fact that filings from later, in 2022, still mark the $500,000 loan as coming from personal funds, leaving the source of the money unclear. Campaign finance experts are struggling to unpack the latest disclosures from Santos's campaign, which they say are riddled with potential errors and discrepancies. Nobody can make sense of them, said Robert McGuire, the research director for Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, CREW, a nonprofit watchdog group. It seems impossible at this point that there is some sort of oversight. It's just an astounding number of financial questions, he added. I've been doing that for more than a decade and I've never seen anything like this. Brett Capel, an elections lawyer specializing in campaign finance, said that it's unclear whether the apparent discrepancies on Santos's updated filings were the result of a simple clerical error or an intentional change. Regardless, Capel said, the amendments make no sense and are inconsistent, adding the changes would almost certainly attract scrutiny from the FEC. It might be a mistake that was made when amending other parts of the same report, or it could be deliberate, if his treasurer refused to mark it as personal unless he provided documentation, he said. Either way, it is going to generate another FEC letter asking him to describe the true source of the loan and its particulars. Federal election law allows candidates to loan personal funds for campaign purposes or take out bank loans to help fund their political operations. But experts said that any bank loan the size of those made by Santos would require collateral, and Santos's filings with the FEC note that the loans were not backed by collateral. Santos's attorney Joe Murray did not respond to the Hill's request for comment on the amended campaign finance reports. Santos himself declined to elaborate on the changes on Wednesday, telling reporters outside the U.S. Capitol that he doesn't manage his campaign's financial disclosures. "I don't amend anything," Santos told reporters on Wednesday. "I don't touch any of my FEC stuff. So don't be disingenuous and report that I did, because you know that every campaign hires fiduciaries. So I'm not aware of that answer." To be sure, it's not unusual for campaigns to file updated reports with the FEC in order to correct errors or provide additional required information. But Aaron Klopak, the senior director for campaign finance at the nonprofit Campaign Legal Center, CLC, said that Santos's filings aren't typical. The FEC has already issued a large number of requests for additional information where they flag their own concerns, Klopak said. "I think that this particular committee has raised an unusual number of questions." CLC filed a complaint with the FEC earlier this month accusing Santos's campaign of illegally using funds for personal expenses and concealing the source of Santos's loans to the campaign, among other concerns. Klopak said that CLC was still in the process of sorting through Santos's latest filings. Klopak warned against jumping to conclusions about the latest discrepancies regarding Santos's campaign loans. But, she added, it's certainly significant whether it was a clerical mistake or intentional, and it's something that should be examined. If it's personal, then there's the question of did he actually have the money to loan? And if not, where did the money come from, she said. There are a lot of questions about where it came from, the term of the loan, etc. There are requirements about providing details about what they are. The updated disclosures mark the latest turn in the winding saga of Santos, who has faced growing scrutiny over everything from his financial dealings to lying about his resume and personal life. In previous filings with the FEC, Santos's campaign reported that he had personally loaned his campaign more than $700,000, but questions remain over where that money came from. Santos has said that the money came from his work at his company, the DeVolder organization. Santos is also facing scrutiny over whether an outside entity had solicited large donations for his campaign without being registered with the FEC.